Hello friends, R.P. Srivastav here with a very interesting topic in economics, that is modern theory of interest. As we know that under the discussion of factor pricing, we have to study different theory for different factors of production. And in that context, there is an important theory about interest, that is modern theory of interest. So let us first discuss why there should be a theory of interest. First, how interest rate arises and how the rate of interest is determined. These are the two things that led to the derivation of theory of interest. Various theories of interest are there, while one explains about the existence of interest, while others determine the rate of interest. Various theories like productivity theory, abstinence or waiting theory, agio theory, and Fisher's time preference theory are there that discuss the different aspects of interest and the theory of interest determination. Among the theories which seek to explain the determination of the rate of interest, we might mention classical or real theory, low-level funds or neoclassical theory, Keynesian or liquidity preference theory. But having all the discussion about all this theory, we come to the conclusion that these theories are not complete in itself, and sometimes some economists say that theory is indeterminate one, and in that context we come to study modern theory of interest, that is propounded by Hicks. And let us discuss the introduction part of the theory, that is modern theory of interest. The economists like Professor Hicks and Hansen have made a synthesis between various theories given before and have given an adequate and determinate theory of interest. The modern theory considers all the real and monetary elements that play their role in determination of the interest rate, while all other theories either focuses over a real part of the interest, the real factors that affect interest, or monetary factors that play its role in determination of interest. But the modern theory considers all the real as well as monetary elements, and so this theory becomes complete in itself. Hicks presented a complete and determinate theory of interest using the Keynesian instrument of analysis as well as all other factors of interest determination like productivity, thrift, liquidity preference, and money supply. As I have given the name of this slide, Hicks-Hansen synthesis or ISLM curve. This theory is also known as Hicks-Hansen synthesis as well as ISLM curve theory of interest, and also known as modern theory of interest. According to H. Hansen, the neoclassical or loanable fund formulation and the Keynesian formulation taken together do supply us with an adequate theory of interest, while one part play its role in determination of IS curve as well as the second part play its role in decision of or in deriving of LM curve. So this is also called IS-LM curve. Here, while one denotes the real part of the factors that play its role in interest determination, while other part play its role monetary part, one curve. So the monetary part that play its role in income determination. From the loanable funds formulation, we get a family of loanable fund schedules or saving schedule in the Keynesian Pigouvian sense. at various income levels, and these together with the investment demand schedule, a family of investment demand schedule, one for each level of income, gives a Hicksian IS curve. Thus, the neoclassical formulation can tell us what the various levels of income will be given the investment demand schedule and family of loanable fund schedule at different rate of interest, but it does not tell us what the rate of interest will be. So, here two curves are there, and from where it comes is explained in Hicks-Hansen synthesis, but taken together we are only in position to have a complete theory of interest determination. Otherwise, only IS curve or LM curve in itself is not complete to decide the rate of interest. Is together with the supply of money fixed by monetary authority gives us the LM curve. The LM curve tells us what the various rates of interest will be. From the Keynesian formulation, we obtain a family of liquidity preference schedules at various levels of income. So, the LM curve show the relation between supply of money and prevailing income level. LM curve is the curve in between money supply and income level. Given the quantity of money and the family of liquidity preference curves at different levels of income, but the liquidity alone cannot tell us what the rate of interest will be. So, LM curve is only provides the different schedule showing the relation in between money supply and income level. As from the very beginning, I have said that two curves, that is IS and LM curve, play their role simultaneously in determination of rate of interest. As IS curve show the relation between interest and saving on different level of income, while LM curve show the supply of money and income level. And having these two curves, that is IS and LM curve given by Hicks and Hansen, we are in position to determine the equilibrium rate of interest. The IS curve and LM curve are schedules relating the two variables, that is income and the rate of interest. Income and rate of interest are therefore determined together at the point of intersection of these two curves or schedules. At this point, income and rate of interest stand in relation to each other, such that investment and saving are in equilibrium, that is, actual saving and investment equal desired saving. And second, the demand for money is in equilibrium with the supply of money, that is, the desired amount of money is equal to the actual supply of money. And having these two curves where these intersect each other, that is the point of equilibrium rate of interest. As in my previous slide, I have said that these two curves are able to establish the interrelation between rate of interest and income level. So, IS and LM curve play its role in the rate of interest determination, while one addresses the real and another the monetary factors affecting the rate of interest determination. So, equilibrium rate of interest will be attained at the point where IS curve intersects the LM curve, and that point will be the point of equilibrium rate of interest at that distinct level of income. So, let us discuss equilibrium condition in this slide. Here, in the given figure, the y curve shows the rate of interest and the x axis shows the level of income. Here, two curves, IS curve schedules. In IS schedule, IS1 and IS2 are there, and in the same way, LM1, LM2 are there, where these two curves intersect each other. That will be the point of equilibrium rate of interest. So, what will be the conditions of equilibrium? So, let us discuss equilibrium condition. Thus, a determinate theory of interest is based on, first, the investment demand function, that is I is equal to, I is the function of R, that is investment is function of rate of interest. Second, the saving function, that is saving is equal to, saving is the function of income and rate of interest. And third, the liquidity preference function, that is L is the function of income and rate of interest. And fourth, the quantity of money that is to be decided by the monetary authority, that is M, that is also can be said that it is fixed by the government. The equilibrium conditions are where S is equal to I and M is equal to L. This is the condition, equilibrium condition for rate of interest determination under modern theory of interest. As coming through various theories of interest, that is low level fund theory, time preference theory, liquidity preference theory, all these theories are there, but in comparison of all previous theory, the theory that is modern theory of interest propounded by Hicks and Hansen seems rather complete to decide the rate of interest, because it addresses both the factors affecting the rate of interest. It means it considers the two segments of the economy, that is the real as well as monetary segments of the economy, and that's why this theory is also called a determinate or more complete theory of rate of interest, that is modern theory of rate of interest. Here I complete my lecture for the time being, but in my next lecture I will try to elaborate this discussion, having in mind that what are the limitations of this theory also, because this theory, that is modern theory of interest, is also criticized by various economists on one ground or other. So, in my next lecture I will try to elaborate that aspect, that is critic aspects of the modern theory of interest. So, for this lecture, that's all. Thank you. Goodbye.